I was in a bar that day. Met a haggard man. I sat at the bar and drank alone. The man suddenly accosted me. He looks. His cheeks are sunken and he looks sluggish. The two of us drank wine. Suddenly the man told me, there is a reason why he will fall here. So he began to tell his story. The story is like this. This was 10 years ago. I was in a big city at the time. Work in a small bar. There I was with a woman in the shop. Good relationship. The owner of the bar and other employees know the situation. We lived together in my apartment. We had a pretty easy time. But Harumi is a gambler. He can bet on anything. If you can win money, there's no problem. But Harumi's luck is too bad. Gambling. Sure enough, it also needs talent. Not long after. No accident at all. Harumi began to be heavily in debt. But even so, Harumi is still working. While thinking of a way to pay back the money. You ask me if I gamble. I don't gamble. Because I don't know if I will lose. How can you make a big bet and fight hard? I'm a down-to-earth person. In this way, the same days keep repeating. In a blink of an eye, we have been living together for 2 years. Finally, Harumi has reached the point of dilemma. Harumi who is cornered. In the end, I borrowed money from the kind of place I shouldn't have borrowed. I think it should be a loan shark gangster. One night, when the two of us were in the apartment, suddenly 2 men came. At first glance, I know it's the kind of gangster in the firm. What happened next? I think you all probably understand. Just like the common plot in TV movies. It's the same. Seriously. I was almost laughing at the time. The 2 men threatened and said, if you can't pay back the money, go to work in the red light district. Harumi, please those 2 men. Give him another week. Or a month's time. You ask me what I was doing at the time. I was only watching the play next to me. After all, the other party is a hooligan. Although I live with him. But if you and I fall into the same situation, you will understand. Later, after the 2 men negotiated with Harumi, just left. One night a few days later, those gangsters who collect accounts came to the apartment as usual. But this time it's a bit different. A few more people this time. It seems that the big man who organized the Cotters is also here. As soon as he entered the house, he told Harumi about repaying the money. After he finished speaking, suddenly came to me and asked me, are you that guy's man in this case? I can't say it's not true, can I? So I admit it. The other party then asked, can you pay that guy's debt? I thought to myself, how could it be returned for him? Harumi's debt at that time has accumulated to nearly 10 million yen. I told him that of course it's impossible. Then the man said to me, in that case, that woman will belong to us from now on. Harumi and I have nothing to do. I'm also in a situation of giving up in my heart. I was thinking, as long as it's harmless to me, whatever you want. Maybe you might think I'm ruthless like this, right? But thinking of, want women to go to work in the custom industry. Enter that kind of industry. If you don't hurry up and give up completely, can't do it anymore. Let's talk about it. If I'm obsessed with Harumi, that's it. I was just interested in his body at the time. The man continued to tell me, if you can swear, in the future, I will forget about that woman. Just accept this. Finished. He handed me a brown envelope. Inside is a large bundle of money. There are exactly 1 million. I looked at it and thought, it feels very bad. The gangster actually gave me money. In case it's a setup. Maybe in the future, this million will be said to be a loan. Get a blood-sucking interest and ask me to pay it back. I can't stand it. So I just refused at the moment. As a result, the punk next to the cotter looked at me fiercely. Then he took the camera and took a picture of me. Then the man who organized the cotters said, "If you don't accept the money, I will kill you." I sighed in my heart. Why did this happen to me? I can only accept the money reluctantly. He took my picture and said to me, "In the future, if you tell me what happened today, I know. No matter where you are in the world, I will find you out and get rid of you." I was really at a loss about this situation at the time. Can only obey those gangsters. I looked at them and thought, what happened to Harumi in the future? Maybe it's not just being taken to the custom house, but even more miserable. Maybe used for other things. I look at Harumi. Put some clothes. Stuffed into the suitcase with his other things. And then they took it away like this. When I separated from him, he didn't look at me. Just said, "I'm leaving." He is really a strong woman. After a group of them left, I'm the only one left in the apartment. I was smoking and thinking. Quit your job at the bar tomorrow. Move to another place to live. I don't want to stay like this. Continue to live in a place known by the underworld. Just as I was thinking about other things, suddenly, I saw Harumi on the dressing table she usually uses. There is a box tied with a ribbon. I opened it and took a look. Inside is the watch I always wanted. That's right. Tomorrow is my birthday. Even the ruthless me. I saw that watch at the time. My tears came out of my eyes all at once. That's when I realized. It turns out that I am in love with Harumi in my heart. Hee. Do you think I will go to save Harumi because of this? Stop kidding. This is not a movie. This is the story of a down and out man. Keep listening to me. Back to the story. The next day, I immediately quit my job in the bar. Decided to move with 1 million yen as a fund. Go as far away as possible. So he moved to a city famous for its snow festival. I want to use it as a new place to live. I also found a place to live. The next step is to find a job. I'm tired of working in a bar. But for me as a night owl, night work is the best. So I got a job as a night security guard. I'm going for an interview. Later he was also hired. After coming to the north, although living an unhappy ordinary life. But this job. Later, I also did it for about 10 years. For me who is easily bored, it's rare to stay in the same company, working for such a long time. As for Harumi, I still remember sometimes. Although I never heard from him again afterwards. But I still keep that watch with me. Just over a month ago, a colleague of mine told me that he got a very powerful video. I was thinking, this pervert can't make anything. That should be just porn or something, right? My colleague asked me, do you know snuff rolls, the so-called snuff film? It's a kind of bloody and a terrifying documentary with cruelty as the main body. But the videos released on the market, movies like the Guinea Pig series, are all fake. And the real snuff film, all on the black market, or traded on the dark web now. The colleague continued, I got this from a certain channel. Brought it today. Do you want to see it? It was a break around 3 o'clock in the night. I thought I could kill time. So I decided to watch it. And I still doubt. He must have been deceived. Must be fake. He put the video in. Press the play button. There was one on TV. Naked woman without hair all over her body. He was lying in a large and dim room. Don't know what the reason is. The woman's eyeballs were turning violently. I saw this scene. Eyes widened. The whole person was very shocked. Because that woman is Harumi. I wanted to stand up. But I don't know why I can't move my whole body. Not long after, a giant python from something like a thick tube entered the room. It's no exaggeration to say. That's at least 10 meters or more. My heart beats with horror when I look at it. But the line of sight can't leave the screen at all. I saw him slowly approaching Harumi. Then it started to wrap around Harumi's body. Harumi showed an expression of fear. But no sound was made. It could be the vocal cords. And the tongue is hurt too, right? The python is getting tighter and tighter. Then Harumi's body. There was a sound of padding, 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 padding. It's like a vegetable stick. The sound of being folded in half is the same. I feel Harumi's bones are broken. He is like the body of a mollusk. Become soft. It took about 10 minutes. The python began to open its mouth wide. It started with King May's round head. I'm going to swallow him. Colleague said. It will take a long time from here. Then he pressed the quick turn. After the python swallowed Harumi's head. Open your mouth again. Started to swallow his shoulder. Then the moment you reach the body, the tape is over. My colleague told me. In fact, there are 2 sequels. I shouted angrily enough. Then he ran out of the office and patrolled the building. Since then, I always have the same dream. There is a beautiful face in my dream. But the body is a big python thing pestering me. Hold me tight. Then the bones of my whole body were crushed. Then Harumi was swallowed from the head. Although it feels very painful. But on the contrary, there is an indescribable pleasure. Then I slowly melted in Harumi's stomach. There is even a sense of peace of mind to return to my mother's arms. I know it's a bit perverted. But this is how I feel. Later I got from a colleague. Bought all the videos. That's a huge amount of money that has cost months of salary. And I watched all 3. I cried after reading it. After that, I broke all the videos. However, since I started dreaming of Harumi every day, when working late at night, you will feel Harumi's existence. It's like late at night. When patrolling the building alone, there was a patter of footsteps from behind. Look back. There is no one. Or in the middle of the night, you will hear the sound of the rag falling to the ground. I think that should be Harumi. But he has never appeared. I can only feel some breath and footsteps. This kind of thing has been going on. I can't stand it mentally anymore. So I resigned. There is no job now. But just 3 days ago, Harumi finally appeared. Late that night, I'm smoking in my bed. Those white smoke are shaking in front of my eyes. I see the smoke slowly turning purple. Then the fluttering movement was strange. Those cigarettes are like living. Slowly and slowly began to take shape. It forms a beautiful appearance. The way his bones are broken all over his body. Shaking like a puppet. He only has one eyeball. He stared at me. He moved his mouth as if he wanted to say something. Make a weird moan. I don't know how long it has been. Harumi disappeared. Ashamed to say. I was so scared that I was incontinent. I'm so sorry. But the next night, Harumi is here again. I'm starting to think. Am I cursed by Harumi? But if you are cursed to death, that makes no sense. So my mentality changed to looking forward to. Harumi reappears. Harumi moved her mouth like the day before. Seems to want to say something. I ran to Harumi and said, "What do you want to say? What to do? Watch, thank you. I didn't help you with anything at that time. Sorry. I take my watch with me. Watch, watch, watch." I was like crazy at that time, frantically yelling at the watch. Harumi, she took the broken neck. Get close to me. Although he speaks intermittently. But I clearly heard him tell me. I really wanted, your child. After that, we got entangled together. It's hard to say what's next. After the emaciated man finished telling the story, took a sip of wine. After drinking, he looked into my eyes. Used a weird, with a helpless expression, he smiled and said, He. Late this night, Harumi, she will come to me too.